All right, guys. So welcome to today's analysis. My name is Ife Michael. And just before we get started, guys, does anyone have questions? I want to try address your questions first, and I will tell us what our main aim or our main goal for today will be. Does anyone have questions for me? And feel free to unmute yourself if you got a question right now.
Okay. Hello, Ife.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good, thanks. So my question is really how to understand the charts and do the technical analysis.
Okay.
So, I feel like that would be a good skill to have. Knowing that will, even if it's not everything, but it would help me to be more confident once I'm ready to start, taking trades. Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. I can cover that. Does anyone else have a question real quick? Anybody else? If no other question, then I'm just gonna go right to it. I will answer your question. Before I get started, the main aim of today's meeting is to very quickly go over analysis for last week, what we kind of projected, what we're hoping to see last week. If it did come true, if it happened like we wanted, what went wrong, what did not go wrong. Second thing is to forecast for next week, and thirdly, to answer questions that anyone might have. So with that being said, I'm gonna dive right into it. So this was the calendar for last week. I checked my calendar on Forex Factory. Sometime I go on investing.com, but mostly on Forex Factory. So on Forex Factory, this was the last week from Sunday, September 6th to, can you guys see my screen? Can everyone see my screen? Can we all hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can see your screen and I can hear you.
All right, good.
Okay.
All right. So Friday ended. So we can see that if you go on Forex Factory, the news that have high impact are usually in red. They are the ones that have the huge impact. You see a little bit of a darker shade, more like a dark brown. Those have more impact, but the yellow ones don't have as much impact. They have the least impact. So a few high impact news were last week. Of course, some figures came in for the EUR USD. Some came in for the US dollar. So it was a busy week, especially between Monday and Wednesday. There was huge volume, and you know that there was a bank holiday on Monday. So the volume really came in between Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, the volume for US dollar pairs were kind of reduced, and Friday we didn't see much movement. I mainly trade dollar pairs with a huge focus on EUR USD. Excuse me, with a huge focus on EUR USD. So if we check my analysis for last week, okay, I should have it somewhere here. It's just a moment, guys. So this is EUR USD right here. Okay, so it's not on here. So for last week, this is what I was looking at. So I was hoping that okay, price was, let's see when last week started. The new week started where? The new week started here. So let me put it in 4 hours so we have a better, okay, good. Good, okay, I'm gonna take this off so I don't confuse guys too much. Okay, so the week started where? The week started here, right here, right? And my projection is from this place, we should start to see a really huge drop towards here because I believe that the dollar is gaining strength, and if the dollar is gaining strength, we should. However, that's not exactly what happened. I had a resistance here, so I thought, okay, once this resistance is broken, under this my yellow line, which is the resistance, it was the support, right? But then now it's a resistance because it came down. But when it was a support, I expected it to be broken. Once it's broken, I want this white trend line. I don't know if you see it. There's a white dashed trend line that I put there. I wanted that to be broken, and then we'll see a huge downtrend. That did not happen exactly. As what happened is we had a pullback towards the zone. And when I saw that, it gave me, based on my own strategy, it gave me a 0.618 pullback, and I entered the sell from this point. So for last week, I've made a very early entry into this. So I believe that ultimately we should be going down. But right now, because I've taken this huge swing sell from up here to here, I am not going to get back in a sell yet until this is my golden resistance, which is a support right now, until this line is broken. And then we can start to get in a sell. That is for GBP USD. That's for EUR USD. I will show you for GBP USD as well. For GBP USD, I looked for a very beautiful sell too. We've been selling. So we started selling this. Mainly, this is the beginning of, this was where the week started. And if I'm going too fast, guys, you can just stop me. I would come again. This is where the week started. The week started somewhere here. Let's see where I started. Yep. So the week started. This is first. Aha, good. So the week started around here. I projected that once we break this white trend line that you see, this trend line here, this line here, that once we break that, we're going to test this support. Once our support is broken, we're coming down to this level and then to this level. I'm sure I have a better, let me see. I have something that shows our ultimate targets and you can have a clearer look, because I monitor quite a few charts. So it looks, aha, okay, good. So this was where our precise analysis, this was the analysis we went over in the video. So I was projecting that once this line is broken, we should swing, and this is my green line broken, we should swing all the way down here. And you can see how many pips this had been. This was mainly the trade I took last week. I took GBP USD and I took EUR USD. So you can see how the swing had been all the way down. I have a target around here, and I think if that's broken, I do have another target here, which is going to be my final support level. That is for GBP USD. That went ultimately like we wanted it to. The other pair that I looked at last week was USD CAD. I'm going to put it there right now. Okay. So another pair is USD CAD. I'm buying USD CAD. So I started buying USD CAD from around here with a stop loss around here. It's not moved so much because, like I said, USD CAD is US dollar to Canadian dollar. So even though the dollar is gaining strength, the Canadian dollar too is gaining relative strength. So it's causing that friction of, but once it breaks a certain level, you can see that we have one hit here at the resistance, second hit at the resistance, third hit at the resistance. This thing had dipped to this, our current trend line, and we're trying to buy up here. Once we buy and break this place for the fourth time, I told you 3 times, right? Once it breaks it the fourth time, then we're looking at this place as a possible target. So that's what I'm looking at for that's what happened last week, and that's what I'm projecting for this week. How do I know that? I use the dollar index. So on the dollar index, that's called DXY. What the DXY does is that is it comprises, it's what shows the strength of the dollar, the US dollar itself, to other currencies like the EUR, the JPY, the GBP. But the EUR constitutes over 50% of those pairs. It's the EUR itself holds a larger percentage. So whatever happens to DXY has almost a direct impact on EUR USD. And that's why you can almost see that they have a similar pattern. They have a similar pattern. You can see that they have a similar pattern. Let me put it in 1 hour, and that might show up a little bit more clearly. So let's see DXY. You can see DXY, it's zoomed out a little bit. When it's zoomed out, that's what it looks like. And see EUR USD, that's what it looks like. So you can see this pull back to this place. So what we're expecting from DXY is this. Let me bring up my trend line. From up here, this trend line has been broken. It seemed to have found a base there. So once this is strong and we get something like this, from up here, that's a support level, a very good support level. And we have a buy like this. What it means is the US economy is recovering and it's going up. It's performing better relatively to other currency. And if that is happening, it means that you should sell all other pairs like EUR, USD, GBP, USD, major currency pairs that carry US dollar. So that's what it means. But for this week, I have an interesting pair that I kind of want to look at for today. I already have positions open for EUR, USD, GBP, USD, and USD CAD. I already have my positions in those ones. But for today's class, I want to mark a different pair entirely. And while I mark that from the beginning, you guys can ask me questions. So the pair I'm marking is going to be US dollar and the South African rand. So if the US dollar is indeed getting strong, this is the USDZAR. If the US dollar is indeed getting strong, it means that compared to the South African, this thing, we should be getting towards a buy. We should be getting ready to buy this. So let's mark USDZAR and see what it's going to look like for the week. If we are at a very good point of resistance or support, then it will give us a good swing buy or swing sell. Swing buy is something like this. From here, you saw the way it shot up. A swing sell. All these huge movements, those are what you want to capture, because you can see when it was swinging down here, there was no single point in time it went up. So if you bought from here and so if you sold from somewhere here, let's say you entered a short position around here, let's say you entered around here and you make your stop loss so tight, say this tight, right? And you're trying to swing to somewhere here. On a risk to reward, can you see how beautiful this would have been? You can risk so much money and see the reward you'll be making. So those are swing movements. That's a very beautiful swing. This is also a beautiful swing. This is a beautiful swing. So those are the kind of movements you want to catch. You want to minimize your risk, whatever you're risking, whatever you're exposing to the market, you want to minimize that for a possibility of making a maximum return. So for USDZAR, I'm going to go to 1 month. Let's start with 1 month to see the trend. Okay. You guys okay?
Yeah.
So on a monthly basis, what do we see firstly? What do we see? Price started from here. This is where we are right now. This is the beginning of price right here. And this is where we are as at the close of the market. So what do we generally see? One of the most obvious things to see is this. This is where price started, right? This is where price is. We've been going up, right? That is quite obvious to see. I believe that everyone should be able to see that. And if you can't see that, let's do it this way. Price moved to this point here. From this point, price moved what? To this point here. From this point here, price did what? Came to this point. From this point, price came here. It didn't break the previous low that we are here. So it made a higher low. From this point, what did price do? Went up here, made a higher high. From this point, price came where? Made a higher low. From this point, price came here, made another higher high. So this on its own is called an uptrend. So generally looking at this thing on a monthly basis, we are in an uptrend. All the highs have been higher than the previous high. So that's a beautiful thing. If you want to target this now, we can say that because we're generally in an upward trend on a monthly basis, we're expecting that this price somewhere should come and test this white trend line for the third time. We see that already on a monthly time frame. We're expecting this to touch the trend line on the third time. That is to show us that, okay, good, this is uptrend. We're just going by the uptrend. However, we're saying the same thing, that let's check their lows. This is the low. This low here is higher than this low here, which is a good suggestion for the uptrend. So let's put it there. So we're saying if this thing is coming back down, that is where it's probably going to test. It will want to test You want to test this trend line. So looking at this, does it look like a parabolic or parallel thing? Does it look like we have a channel? Does it look like we have a channel, like a range? These two green lines that I've drawn, does it not look like it's something that is almost like a textbook kind of? Let me remove everything else real quick. And if you want to answer, please feel free. If you have an opinion, please let me hear, so that we can both we can all dissect it. Okay, guys. So from this points, all these red points, can we not see boom, boom, boom? Naturally, if we just want to go off this, can we not just say, okay, definitely this thing might want to test here, and when it does test there, it's going to come back to this green because that's what it's been doing. Can we all agree on that? Yes, I believe we can. I can't tell you guys, but I'm going to answer for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see that on the monthly time frame, right? And another thing we see on the monthly time frame, we already got that one. On the monthly time frame, we're bullish, we're in an uptrend. We seem to have a pattern. All right, our pattern seems to be in a range. Beautiful things are setting up. Okay, let me check the volume for the month. The month here is just beginning. What was the volume like for last month? We had a high sell volume, right, for last month. Previous months higher than the previous month. So it looks like from somewhere around May thereabouts, people who have been buying this pair, they've been coming down because the US dollar has been crashing. As the US dollar has been crashing, this past couple of months, we've been seeing increase in people selling this pair. People are dumping the US dollar because the US dollar is dropping value. Okay, that's good. That's not a problem. But now, what do we see in this new month that we're in? We see the volume of sellers right now. It's although the month is just starting, this is 12 days into the month. But going off this momentum of this high sell, half into the very next month, we should see at least more than this volume, but we can see a less volume, significantly less volume. That suggests to us that, okay, we are beginning to see a turnaround. The economy is beginning to get better. This thing that is dropping from here, this thing that is dropping from up here, and this is still monthly, is because I haven't marked this pair in a while. That's why I start on monthly. Any pair I'm starting for the first time, I try to go from monthly. That means this pair that is dropping now is close to going back up. That means these sellers that have been messing with this thing, that have been bringing it down from this level here, sellers that have been bringing it down from this level here, they are beginning to give up, and we can see that from the volume. Okay, so now let me take that out. So our main goal now is, now we see that it's in an uptrend. Secondly, we see a trace that the sell that has been happening from here is about to be over. So what we want to know now is, have we reached the base of this thing? Have we reached the ground where it's going to come to, so that we can enter a buy? Can we then get in our buy? When should we get in our buy? We don't want to be caught in the middle of this thing. So that's what we're going to analyze mainly for USDZAR for today. We've gotten a few indications that we might be ready for a buy. I started the meeting with those. So one way to do that is this. On a monthly time frame still, two things we want to do. One is this: bring out your Fibonacci, which is one tool that I use very, very often. I hope that, like I said, you guys did read about it, and if you did, you would have some really good background knowledge about Fibonacci. It works in nature, not just it works in nature, not just it works in mathematics. If you divide 3 by 2, it will give you a particular ratio. If you divide 4 by 3, it will give you a ratio. If you divide 5 by 4, it will give you a ratio. Those things are Fibonacci ratios. They're usually 1.5 is a 1.618, the phi that we use in mathematics. That's a golden ratio. So now, two ways of knowing whether this thing is done, right? One way is this: if you check this particular swing low here to this swing high, this particular pivot low here to this pivot high, this swing, okay, let me bring up my arrow. So from this point here, we swung all the way here, and we retraced to where? You see where we came down to? 0.618. Can you guys see that? So if that is known already, one thing we want to do is let's check the extension. So price. So from here, price came to this place that it did. So now let's check the extension to know if this thing has finished its movement. So if the trend will continue, this trend that came up here down to this point, if it's going to continue, where do we want it to get to? We want it to get to somewhere here to complete its trend. But it didn't do that. It got all the way here to pull back. All right, so good. That shows a good level that this trend had continued. This particular trend had finished. Now that it has finished, we might be ready for a new trend, either coming down or going up. So I think that finishes the 1 month analysis. We want to go to the weekly now and then see what else happened. Is everyone still with me?
Yeah.
All right, good. So to the weekly, so we already see that it's broken that spot there. The next thing I might want to do before I get to the weekly is this. I want to bring back that Fibonacci again to from this swing low here, right, to this swing high. We can bring it from this particular swing low too, because that's the previous low, to this swing high. I want to find some sort of confluence. So two things we're expecting now. We're expecting, where did price stop at first? Price had made about half retracement. We're expecting price to come and test here. So it looks like it still has a little bit of long way to go. But because the US economy is recovering, it might have found a floor. So let me take this previous swing off it. Okay. All right. So we're expecting this thing had broken half retracement here. If you can see this particular swing, we're looking at this swing now. This swing right here. Let me take off the volume, guys, so that I can have a better. So the volume is off. Okay. So from this swing from here to this place, from here it has made past half retracement, which is this white line 0.5, almost 0.618. I think that is good enough. If you're looking for this support, if this area here is broken, then we can look towards the next area. But for now, this looks like, okay, indeed we're ready for our buy. Indeed our buy is getting in. Okay, so let's now go check it on a. Okay, let's check other candles. Okay, so we see this candle, we see the buyers pushing it, we see the way this doji candle formed, which looks like an a power torso, a good power torso. Like, okay, this is about to shift, this kind of candle here, and you can see sellers pushed it here, back here. Let me use this Renko to see what the momentum is. You can see on the Renko it's already all green. Okay, so even though it's down, on this Renko here, it's already showing all green. So many things are suggesting to us that we are, this sell action that came down here is nearly done. But we want to buy, at least if we can't get the floor, we want to get it close to the floor. Let's go to the weekly. All right. So on the weekly, it has pivoted. This is that swing. This swing from here to here, back to this point. So we can see on the weekly it has pivoted, and around that pivot here, we do see that price tested it quite a few times. I'm going to draw it right here. So even though we didn't quite make the golden ratio, which is my own trading strategy, I try to trade towards a golden ratio. If I'm going to sell this, I'll be selling. I won't sell it quite here. I'll sell to about half. But that is what I use to find my support, my resistance, my top and my bottom. So we can see on this support here that not only did it bounce from here, it retested it here. And now when it retested it, before it made this green, this is where we closed for the week. This is how we closed for the week. Before we tested it, price didn't quite get back here. Not only did price not get back here, this other testing, this floor here, this other floor here that we see, this other time that I tested it, right? We did not get all the way compared to the previous one. I'm talking about these lines here. It tested it here, it tested it here. You can see that this low point here was not as low as this previous low. This low point here is not as low as this previous low. A good indication for a ready to buy. And that's what we see that already on a weekly. which is a strong indication for buy. We see all the strong buy signals. So where do we want to target for this buy? We already see that it might want to test the top of this our green zone that we picked from the monthly. That might be where we're going ultimately. However, one more thing you might want to do is this. You want to check from here, bring out your fib retracement, your trend continuation tool. So that tool will help you project. Okay, will help you project where will be our next target. So on a weekly basis, we're looking at our next target to be full, which is one, which would be 21.74. So if this thing would never come down, for example, if this our analysis is right, for example, right, you want to place your, one second, guys. So if this analysis is right, you want to place your resistance at the very top here, and your trade will be looking somewhat like this. Your trade will look somewhat like this, and okay, so your trade will be looking somewhat like this. Imagine if you got into this trade and you held this trade for 1, 2, 3, 4. Because of this whole consolidation, we expect that we'll see some really good momentum, and because it has the support, I'm not the only one who wants to buy. There'll be more volume. When volume gets in, let me see the volume actually so far for the week, and I would know what we're looking at. Yeah, that's a very decent. The very last week, you see this blue candle, so that means buyers have indeed, much more buyers got in. They are overtaking the sellers. The moment they have overtaken the sellers, we'll see some good momentum. So we're looking at here, right? Imagine you enter this trade. This trade never broke this purple zone downward ever, and you staked so high and you waited. You kept this thing for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. Imagine the reward you're going to be making. That is an example of a swing trade. However, this is my ultimate target. That doesn't mean that that's where we're going to get to. One of the places I will be looking to firstly get to is this. So now if I assume that, okay, cool, this is going to be a trend continuation, we're about to buy it up. One of the first places I want to test is from this swing high, right, to this swing low. Where is my golden ratio? Let me see if I have any reference to it in the past. Let me see if I have any reference to it in the past. Let me see if I have any reference to it in the past. It doesn't look like I have any reference to it in the past. So we'll be testing this point here. Before we test that point, so let's see. This will be a point to test firstly before we get all the way to where we're going. Let me draw with a line first. This point right here, 18.19532. One second, please. Okay, good. So that would be one of our first target right there. So if we make that target and we break it, then we'll be looking to come down. Another reason why we won't be going all the way down, all the way up here so quickly is because that's such a far distance. That's such a farthest thing. Before then, let's put it in the day and see what happened. We might get more pivot points. Good. So now that we get more pivot points, what do we want to do? You see, it pivoted here, right? There was a pivot low here, a pivot low here. You see all this noise around here. When this thing is done, when the noise is done, it's going to shoot either way. It's going to go, okay, it's going to go either this way. If it breaks this zone here, it's coming down one way. But we already, based on our analysis, based on the fundamentals, we already know that we have a strong US dollar. We have a US dollar that is recovering. We already find a good support around there. This support wasn't as, if you check the numbers, this support wasn't as low as this support here. So it signals is going up. Now let's check their pivot high. This pivot high is also higher than this pivot line. So what it had done is it has made, remember when I was talking about higher high and lower lows? So from here, Oh, we're running out of time. 10 minutes more. If you guys are still with me, we'll do another 40 minutes if that's okay with you guys. But I've recorded this first half and I will send it as well. So I'm not upgrading my Zoom just yet. But yeah, from this pivot here to this pivot here, that's a swing from here to here. This point that it came to was higher than here, even though it looks about the same, but that's still a higher low. Then from here, what did it do? It made a higher high. And from here, if we found a pivot here also, this would be a higher low. That's a good sign of this thing about to recover up. That does not mean we're right, but that does help us pick our own bias. So that's we on a daily. Okay, so what I want to do next will be this. And this is how I mark my trades, all of my trades. This is what I do day in, day out, over time, repeatedly on every pair. So if they go right, that is good for me. But because on a risk to reward, I lower my risk for a potential high reward. And when that happens, even if I've lost 2 or 3 trades in a row, one good trade that I make outweighs whatever I've lost. And I find that a very good strategy as long as you're practicing a good money management. So you, whatever you're trading, you don't want to trade more than a certain percent of your account. Right now, even though I've been trading for a little bit of time, I'm still not even a pro or anything. But I've been trading for some time now, and even at that, I don't trade more than 10% at the most. They advise 2%, 3% at the most, but I don't even trade more than 10% of my capital at the most. And that's because I don't have up to $1 million yet. If I do, I wouldn't be risking 100,000 or such for just a trade. So yeah, um, from here to this point here, I'm going to change the color. We see that this is on the upside. Let me put that back to white. White is my trend line. I use green to get a channel. We see that, okay, it's rising up. And if you connect this other low to this low point and we take it all the way here, we can see that it seems like we have a floor. So 2 things we want to do now. We can assume that maybe price wants to test this white line before coming all the way up, or we go to a lower time frame. We already know this is where we're going. This is our target. We're in a buy. However, that doesn't mean that price will not do something like this. That doesn't mean that price will not do something like this. Let me show you. Something like this. Test this trend line again. Make a pivot, and then that doesn't mean we won't have something like this. So imagine if you're buying straight away from here, thinking it won't come down. All this loss here, and when it's reversing, it's just going to burn you. So you don't want to do that. However, we can still get in our trade now, knowing that, okay, we're here. 2 ways we want to get in is this. If you can accommodate for such a huge margin, if you can accommodate for this margin from here to here, if you have a demo account and you can accommodate for a loss from here to here, then you can get into this trade and then be open to buy towards here. But before we do that, I mean, we can we can check other time frame and see what exactly went on. So let's look at the candlesticks. We're on a daily time frame now. We have 6 minutes before I finish this, and then once we get to the next one, I'll answer our questions and we can proper find a position. So the next 40 minutes, if you guys are still on here, would be to talk about how to then get into this trade. We already know that this is going to be a buy. We already see where we're targeting. But that doesn't mean that we should get into the trade right now, because there's a possibility that it's going to come down here. If it's going to come down here, you don't want to be buying thinking it's coming up. You waste your money first around here before coming up. Do we have a better understanding, guys?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
All right, good, guys. So that's that part. Let me take the volume off again. Actually, before I take the volume off, let's analyze the candle. We are now on a daily time frame. Let's see what has been happening in the past couple of days. Last week stroke this week we're in that just finished, and the previous week. So this is where market closed yesterday. This is what happened on Friday. So the market initially, the previous day, we checked this green candle, it closed up here. When market opened on Friday, it dipped all the way here and the buyers pushed it here. So we had a bearish market yesterday. right? But before that, we had seen a huge bullish this thing. So this might just be a reaction towards here, taking off some people taking off profits, some people shedding up, and then the week is ended, fewer traders in the markets and all of that. But when the market opens on Sunday, there's a possibility we'll see a little bit of downward, but we can clearly see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the 5 days, do I have a vertical line somewhere? Yes, I do. Okay, let me put my vertical line here. So in these 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can see that we had 3 green candles and 2 red candles. Okay, so the week began here on Sunday, Monday, depending on where you are in the world. But in Asia, the market opens on Sunday. It opens on their Monday, which is Sunday our time here. So on Sunday, when the market opened here, this low here, and boom, came up here, tested the support again, came up here and tested. It's about half the range of whatever happened during the week. So this is where the market opened. This is where the market closed. The market closed higher than where it opened last week. So that's a good indication that, okay, it's really beginning to be. And you can see the buy volume. It's good that on Friday, the volume wasn't as good, which just shows that, okay, not so many people traded compared to the previous day. So we can't really go off that. It could just be that people who've been buying took off profit and all that. So that's what we see on a daily. Let me take this vertical line off. Let me take it off. All right. We have more people in now. We have 3 minutes on this particular session, just as a reminder. And after the 3 minutes, we will start again for the second half of it. Okay. So let me minimize this. Okay. All right. Everyone can still hear me, right? Good. I believe so. So yeah, that's what we see on a daily basis. And that's for this. The previous week, this is what we see. Let me bring that vertical line again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here was where we started. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this is another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can see where the market closed. The markets closed 3 weeks ago. The market closed right here. The bullish on Sunday when the market opened came, boom. They dropped it to the second this thing. They pushed it high. And where it's closed was about where it opened on the previous week. Then we entered the new week. Where it started from and where it closed was a little bit higher than before. So a very good sign that, okay, good. We are just about to. So let me put this vertical line too. So did I count as well? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I guess this should be right here. Okay, so this is 28th. This is 31st. Okay, so the market opened right here. So we saw where the market opened. We saw where it closed, around the same place. But this other week that came in, it opened at that place, but closed above it. In fact, it closed above where it opened, where it closed on Monday. So showing us a good sign of the buyers beginning to get into the market. Another thing we see is this: we see that it's close to the floor. It has touched this support a few times. So USDZAR does look like a good buy for us, even though we're a little bit off. If you had entered here, we'll be closer to the floor. That will reduce our risk. If you want to enter now, this is what we're looking at. But how we're gonna know is by going to a lower time frame. And if you stick with me, we're gonna go on 4 hours and go see what exactly will be our entry points and our exit point, guys. So I'm going to end this right now. The same link, guys. Let us get back in about 2 to 3 minutes. All right, guys. I'll see you in a bit.